Experience the riveting journey of Lucien and Valeria, two souls ensnared by deceit, forced identities, and unexpected passion. In a world ruled by betrayal and family secrets, they fight to reclaim their true selves, transforming pain into a dazzling tale of redemption and love. Lucien, rising from darkness, and Valeria, breaking free from imposed silence, reveal that genuine strength blossoms through vulnerability and honesty. Their story will captivate your heart and ignite your curiosity for every hidden twist and turn. Where are you watching from? Subscribe now to follow this unforgettable saga and join us in discovering every enthralling detail. In a world defined by forced destinies and masked identities, Valeria found herself trapped in a web of familial deceit and self-abnegation from the very moment her mother's icy grip seized her wrist and dragged her toward a glittering, yet suffocating wedding dress. The invitation to play a role not her own had been extended long before that fateful day, when her sister Celeste's carefully cultivated persona was chosen to secure a union with Lucien Drake, a blind, affluent man whose unyielding wealth and refined manner concealed a profound sensitivity. For 6 long months, Valeria had spoken to him on the phone under Celeste's name, rehearsing every inflection and laugh as if preparing for a performance destined to deceive not only him, but everyone around her. Yet, as the clock ticked toward the wedding, she was left with no choice but to forfeit her true self for the sake of a contract sealed by duty and greed. The ceremony itself was a meticulously orchestrated spectacle, a facade of elegance and order that belied the inner torment of the woman forced to wear a mask. In the cramped dressing room, filled with the heady aroma of expensive perfume and the relentless clack of high heels, Valeria felt the pressure of a role not meant for her. Each step down the aisle felt like a descent into a chasm where every whisper, every trembling heartbeat, echoed with the weight of unspoken truths. As she advanced, her eyes remained fixed on a distant point, too afraid to meet those of Lucien, whose blind gaze seemed to penetrate the layers of her deceit and capture the raw emotions buried beneath the surface. Under the soaring arches of St. Vincent's Cathedral, the ritual unfolded with an eerie precision, with her mother's harsh commands ringing in her ears. Reminders that the wedding was non-negotiable and that any failure would condemn the family to disgrace. Valeria's inner rebellion was ruthlessly smothered. The vows were exchanged in a tone as cold and measured as the promises that had been forced upon her, transforming what should have been a celebration of love into a transactional charade. Yet, amidst the orchestrated formality, Lucien's quiet presence stirred something deep within her. His low, measured voice broke through the pretense with a question that reverberated through the cavern of her heart. "Why are you shaking?" In that brief moment, his inquiry was not an accusation, but an intimate recognition of the storm raging within her. After the ceremony, the newlyweds retreated into the cold, sterile confines of the Drake estate, a place that, despite its immaculate order, radiated a profound sense of emptiness. Every room, from the silent dining hall to the meticulously arranged study, reminded Valeria of the life she had been forced to lead, a life stripped of authenticity and defined by the unyielding expectations of a family that prized appearances over truth. In this unfeeling environment, Lucien's subtle observations began to chip away at the facade. When he remarked that her voice now carried a softness that no impersonation could mimic, it was as though he had caught a glimpse of the real Valeria, the one hidden beneath layers of imposed pretense. His words, gentle yet piercing, opened a fragile pathway for honesty, offering her a glimpse of hope in the midst of a relentless deception. Night after night, as the estate grew quiet and the echoes of the day faded into a suffocating silence, Valeria's mind churned with regret and longing. The weight of every lie, every whispered secret meant to secure her family's ambitions, pressed down on her until the act of living became an unbearable performance. And yet, in the midst of this darkness, Lucien's unwavering belief in the power of authenticity began to kindle a dormant courage within her. His tender glances and measured words spoke of a possibility, a chance to reclaim her true self, to step out from the shadows of a life dictated by duty and fear. In time, their shared silences and unspoken confessions wove a delicate tapestry of understanding. Each subtle gesture, each quiet moment of mutual recognition became a promise of a future where truth could finally triumph over pretense. Though the specter of Celeste's manipulation and her mother's merciless commands still loomed, Valeria gradually embraced the notion that love, genuine, unadulterated love, might yet be born from this most unlikely of unions. And the deep, tender quiet between them, she began to see that the darkness in which she had been forced to live might be transformed into a canvas for her rebirth. And so, even as she continued to carry the heavy burden of a stolen identity, Valeria dared to nurture the fragile hope that, one day, she might finally be seen for who she truly was. Valeria's inner turmoil had been simmering long before she ever stepped into the grand hall of St. Vincent's Cathedral, a turmoil born of being forced into a role that was not hers in a life meticulously constructed by the ambitions of others. As she sat in the dressing room, the scent of expensive perfume mingling with the quiet hum of whispered orders, every moment felt like a betrayal of her true self, a self that was gradually being smothered under the weight of her family's expectations. For months, she had spoken to Lucien under a false name, rehearsing lines and emotions that were never truly hers, and now, with the echo of her mother's commands still ringing in her ears, the facade was cracking. Each step she took toward the altar was not just a physical movement, but a symbolic march toward an uncertain future where the identity of Celeste was replacing the one she had so dearly cherished. In the silence that followed the ceremony, as she retreated into the cold, lifeless corridors of the Drake estate, the full magnitude of her inner conflict came into focus. The sterile environment around her mirrored the emptiness she felt inside, a hollow space where her genuine emotions and dreams had once resided. Every corner of that vast, unwelcoming mansion reminded her that she was living a life dictated by deception, where even the walls seemed to echo with the voices of those who had never bothered to listen to her true desires. Yet, amidst the suffocating silence, a spark of rebellion began to flicker within her. It was subtle at first, like a whisper in a crowded room, but it grew louder with every passing day as she found herself drawn to moments of solitude, where she could finally be alone with her thoughts. The gentle cadence of her own breathing, the soft rustle of silk against her skin, and the quiet moments spent in the forgotten study, once a sealed room untouched by the rest of the household, became her sanctuary, a place where she could confront the many layers of lies that had been imposed upon her. In these fleeting moments of introspection, she recalled a time when she had dreamt of a different life, a life where she could pursue her own passions without fear of judgment or retribution, where her voice would be heard not as an echo of another's ambition, but as a distinct melody of her own. Slowly, the memories of that forgotten self began to resurface, stirring feelings of both hope and dread. With each small act of defiance, whether it was rearranging the study to make it a space of comfort, or choosing to read a novel that resonated with her innermost emotions, Valeria felt the first stirrings of liberation. Lucien, with his uncanny ability to sense the truth hidden beneath the layers of pretense, became both a mirror and a guide. His soft inquiries about the change in her voice and his quiet, attentive presence in the midst of her suffering were the first signs that someone could see beyond the mask she wore. Even though his eyes were forever shrouded in darkness, his understanding shone through with a clarity that both comforted and challenged her. It was in his gentle, unyielding acceptance that she began to realize that the journey toward reclaiming her identity would be as arduous as it was necessary. Every secret smile, every stolen moment, when she allowed herself to dream, was a small act of rebellion against a fate that had been chosen for her. In the silent battles fought within the confines of her heart, Valeria discovered that her inner strength was not derived from conformity, but from the courage to embrace her true self, no matter how painful the process might be. As days turned into nights filled with quiet revelations and small victories over the forces that sought to keep her subdued, the transformation took shape not in grand, sweeping gestures, but in the accumulation of countless subtle shifts. A shift in the tone of her voice, a softening of her gaze, and a newfound determination to reclaim every piece of her identity that had been cast aside. With each passing moment, the woman who had once been forced to play a part began to emerge from the shadows of her imposed existence, and in the quiet spaces where her heart dared to beat with honest emotion, she found that the journey to rediscovering herself was not a solitary one, but a shared path marked by the silent understanding of a man who, despite his blindness, saw her more clearly than anyone else ever could. In that understanding lay the promise of redemption, a promise that, even if the world around her remained shrouded in deception, her inner light would someday guide her back to a truth that was wholly her own, a truth that could no longer be silenced by the voices of others. From the moment Valeria's eyes met Lucien's dark, unwavering gaze, an inexplicable truth resonated in the silence between them. A truth that defied the manufactured roles and false identities forced upon them by a family blinded by ambition and greed. In the midst of a wedding that was nothing more than a meticulously orchestrated charade, Valeria found herself immersed in an ocean of deception where every word spoken was a lie and every touch was tainted by duty rather than desire. Yet, within that oppressive performance, a spark of genuine connection began to glow. As the echoes of her mother's imperious commands faded into the cold, sterile corridors of the Drake estate, a subtle but powerful transformation unfurled within her, and with each passing day, the carefully constructed facade that had long concealed her inner self began to crumble, revealing the raw, authentic emotions she had so desperately suppressed to survive the relentless pressure to conform. In the quiet hours of solitude, when the cacophony of the world outside was reduced to the soft murmur of her own heartbeat and the gentle rustle of silk against marble floors, Valeria discovered a liberating and terrifying truth. Valeria discovered a liberating and terrifying truth. Genuine love was not something that could be manufactured or coerced. It was a delicate blossom that emerged naturally in the fertile soil of honesty and vulnerability. Lucien, whose blindness belied an extraordinary sensitivity to the unspoken language of the soul, became the unexpected catalyst for this profound metamorphosis. Though his eyes could not capture the shimmer of tears or the subtle color of a smile, his heart perceived every tremor of her voice, every nuance of her laughter, and every silent confession that passed between them in the stillness of the night. Each tender gesture, each quiet moment when their souls brushed together like whispers in a forgotten dream, built a bridge between them that transcended the superficial boundaries imposed by a world steeped in pretense and artifice. In that sanctuary of shared silences, where no words were needed to validate their bond, Valeria began to understand that true love was not contingent upon the perfection of appearances or the rigidity of prescribed roles, but was an ever-evolving journey of self-discovery and mutual acceptance. As the days unfolded with an almost sacred grace, their clandestine moments in the dimly lit halls of the estate became a refuge, a haven where the weight of deception and obligation melted away, leaving behind only the pure, unadulterated essence of who they truly were. Even as the suffocating pressure of family expectations threatened to shatter the fragile equilibrium they had so painstakingly built, Lucien's unwavering presence served as a beacon of hope, a quiet promise that the heart's innate yearning for truth could ultimately triumph over the chains of her pretense. When he softly murmured that his feelings for her were rooted not in the guise of a role, but in the singular melody of her authentic self, Valeria felt a stirring of hope that was both exhilarating and profoundly bittersweet, as if the world itself had conspired to reveal the beauty of imperfection and the power of vulnerability. Every shared smile, Every brush of fingertips laden with unspoken promises wove a tapestry of connection that defied the superficial allure of wealth and status, reminding them that their hearts beat not for the approval of a judgmental society, but for the quiet, enduring rhythm of genuine affection. In the delicate interplay of light and shadow that marked their secret rendezvous, Valeria dared to expose the hidden fragments of her soul. Scars earned from battles fought in silence and dreams long confined to the depths of her being. Trusting Lucian with the parts of her being, trusting Lucian with the parts of herself that had remained locked away for so long. In that singular, transformative moment of shared vulnerability, their connection transcended the confines of a contrived marriage, evolving into something far more profound. A living testament to the enduring power of love that arises when two souls, unburdened by artifice, chose to see, and two souls, unburdened by artifice, choose to see, and cherish each other exactly as they are. Their love, tender yet fierce, became the embodiment of a truth that even in a world rife with deception, authenticity could light the way to a future where hearts might heal and hope would flourish, undimmed by the lingering shadows of a past built on lies. After the day Lucian finally opened his eyes, the world seemed to hold its breath, suspended in a quiet tension that belied the monumental transformation already taking place within their hearts as well as in the very air around them. The hospital room, bathed in a gentle, unassuming light and filled with the soft hum of machines that measured every heartbeat, became a silent witness to the rebirth of two souls long entangled in a web of deceit, fear, and unspoken longing. For Valeria, that singular moment when Lucian's eyelids fluttered open marked the beginning of a journey as fraught with uncertainty as it was imbued with hope. A journey where the masquerade of false identities and forced destinies began to dissolve like mist in the morning sun, replaced by the clarity of truth and the tender promise of a future built on genuine connection. As Lucian's vision gradually transformed the sterile corridors of his world into a vibrant tapestry of subtle hues and delicate details, he began to see not only the physical world, but also the quiet depths of Valeria's soul. Each glance, each glance, each glance, each glance, each glance, each glance, each glance as suppressed emotions and hidden dreams waiting to be set free. In that fragile silence, punctuated only by the steady beeping of a heart monitor and the measured rhythm of newfound breaths, they both stood on the precipice of an entirely new beginning. There were no grand declarations or dramatic exclamations, only the soft, steady recognition that what had been concealed for so long was finally ready to emerge into the light. In the days that followed, as Lucian adjusted to the wonder of sight and marveled at the simple beauty of a sunlit window or the intricate patterns of leaves dancing in the breeze, Valeria began to reclaim every lost fragment of her identity that had been stolen by a life dictated by obligation and false promises. Their home, a place that had once resembled a cold gallery filled with lifeless portraits and immaculate, oppressive silence, slowly transformed into a sanctuary where every room resonated with the quiet warmth of authenticity and the hopeful promise of renewal. Each shared moment, whether it was a gentle conversation over a morning cup of coffee, a leisurely walk through a garden where the sweet scent of lavender mingled with the promise of dawn, or the simple act of sitting together in the quiet of the evening, came a tender affirmation of the truth they both had longed for. That love, when freed from the burden of pretense, could heal even the deepest of wounds. The transformation was subtle yet profound. Lucian, no longer defined solely by the loss of his sight, discovered that true vision was found in the ability to perceive the beauty hidden in another's soul, while Valeria, liberated from the suffocating chains of an imposed role, began to see herself, reflected in the gentle understanding of the man beside her, a woman worthy of being seen and cherished for who she truly was. As the seasons changed and time wove its steady narrative around them, their relationship evolved from a tentative alliance born of necessity into a resilient bond nurtured by trust, mutual understanding, and the courage to embrace vulnerability. Even as the bittersweet memories of a painful past and the echo of Celeste's manipulations occasionally surfaced like distant shadows in a sunlit room, they no longer held the power to shatter the delicate peace that had been so painstakingly cultivated. Instead, those memories served as quiet reminders of the steep cost of living a lie and the extraordinary liberation that blossoms from embracing one's true self. In the soft glow of early mornings and the hushed murmur of twilight, Lucian and Valeria discovered that every step taken toward honesty, no matter how tentative, was a step away from the life they had once known. A life where appearances reigned supreme and love. A life where appearances reigned supreme and love was reduced to a mere transaction. Their journey, marked by the quiet resilience of two hearts daring to break free from a past shrouded in darkness, ultimately revealed that the most profound form of sight was not that which rested in the eyes, but that which resided in the eyes, but that which resided in the heart. And as they continued to write their story in the gentle cadence of newfound freedom and intimate understanding, they clung to the belief that even in a world once dominated by deception, the truth would always find a way to shine through. Softly, persistently, and beautifully. After the whirlwind of revelations and the life-changing surgery that granted Lucian the gift of sight, the world began to shift in ways that neither he nor Valeria could have foreseen. 1 year later, in the serene mountains of Oregon, where morning mists danced among ancient pines and the gentle sunlight warmed the quiet earth, Lucian and Valeria had carved out a sanctuary of rebirth and hope. Their home, nestled beside a still lake that mirrored the soft hues of dawn, was not a place of hiding, but a vibrant testament to the transformative power of truth. In this new life, every morning was a quiet celebration of small miracles, as Valeria guided blind students along winding paths, teaching them to sense the world through touch, sound, and the whisper of nature, while Lucian, once confined by the darkness of his world, now taught music with a passion that transcended the limitations of sight. Their days unfolded in a gentle rhythm of shared smiles and subtle gestures, a life defined not by the trappings of wealth or the expectations of a disapproving family, but by the delicate beauty of honest connection and unburdened hearts. Meanwhile, far from the peaceful embrace of Oregon, in a luxurious villa in Florida, Celeste had embarked on a very different journey. Married to a young senator whose promising future was as bright as his ambition, she lived in a world of glittering opulence and calculated charm. Yet, a cruel twist of fate had rendered her husband blind, following a tragic car accident, forcing him to navigate life without the very sense that once defined him. Each morning, Celeste meticulously brewed his tea, selecting his shirts with the help of a diligent fashion assistant, and learning to describe the vibrant colors of a sunset to a man who could no longer see the beauty that surrounded him. Although her husband affectionately called her the light of his life, a gentle phrase that he repeated with tender sincerity, Celeste's smile often faded into a delicate curl of melancholy, a silent admission that beneath the surface of her poised exterior lay a reservoir of regret and unspoken longing. In quiet moments at her vanity, as she applied a touch of red lipstick, a ritual from a past where her charm masked inner pain, she would pause to listen to the soft, measured voice of her assistant reading today's headlines. One such morning, the announcement that Lucian had been awarded an international humanitarian accolade for his groundbreaking work with the blind community resonated through the room. Celeste's hand trembled, and for an instant, the carefully constructed veneer of confidence cracked, revealing the stark truth that while she had played the role of beauty and privilege, she had always remained in the shadow of deceit. With a brief, almost imperceptible laugh that was neither bitter nor joyful, she set down the lipstick and poured tea for her husband, whispering softly that she was merely the shadow who had occupied the wrong place in someone else's narrative. As these two divergent lives continued to unfold side by side, the contrast between them grew ever more pronounced. Lucian and Valeria having embraced the freedom of living authentically, found solace in the simple yet profound acts of everyday life, a gentle touch, a shared glance, or the soft murmur of a heartfelt conversation. Their love, forged in the crucible of deception and later refined by the light of truth, stood as a beacon of redemption for all who dared to dream of a life unshackled by societal expectations. In the quiet hours of twilight, as the last rays of the sun dipped below the horizon, Valeria and Lucien would sit together, their hands intertwined, reflecting on the long and arduous path that had led them to this moment of fragile serenity. They understood that while the past was riddled with betrayals and half-truths, the future held the promise of healing and renewal for those brave enough to step out from the shadows. Ultimately, their entwined destinies reminded them that love, rooted in truth and vulnerability, could overcome darkest beginnings, inspiring them to continue writing a story defined not by pretense but by genuine connection and hope. After years of painful transformation and quiet defiance against a past built on deception, Lucien and Valeria finally embraced a life that honored their true selves. In the gentle light of early mornings, when the mist still clung to the shores of the serene Oregon lake, Valeria would wander along its edge, her bare feet touching the cool water as if reawakening a part of her long-dormant soul. Each step reminded her that every tear shed in darkness had contributed to the strength that now propelled her forward, a strength born not of forced identity, but of courageous authenticity. In these reflective moments, the echoes of her former life, the lies that had once bound her to an imposed destiny, faded into the background, replaced by the soft, persistent whisper of hope that promised new beginnings. She recalled the days when fear and regret reigned, and the heavy weight of familial expectations had silenced her true voice, and she marveled at the transformation that had turned pain into purpose. Lucien, whose world had once been defined solely by the absence of sight, now experienced a revelation far beyond visual clarity. His restored vision unveiled not only the vibrant colors of the natural world, but also the subtle expressions of love that danced in Valeria's eyes. Every shared smile and quiet glance between them affirmed that their connection was forged from the raw, unfiltered truth of their hearts. His days, once filled with a void of darkness, were now enriched by the delicate interplay of light and shadow, the soft rustle of leaves in a gentle breeze, and the tender sounds of life awakening at dawn. Through each moment, Lucien discovered that true sight extended far beyond the physical. It was the ability to perceive the beauty of a soul unmasked, to understand the unspoken language of vulnerability and grace. Despite the serenity they cultivated, the scars of their past occasionally surged forth like unwelcome memories. There were moments when the pain of living a lie threatened to resurface, when the weight of Celeste's betrayal and the relentless pressure of their former existence seemed overwhelming. In those rare hours of solitude, Valeria would close her eyes and let the memories flow, a bittersweet reminder of the sacrifices made and the illusions shattered. Yet, even in these moments of heartache, she found solace in the knowledge that every wound had paved the way for healing. The struggle to reclaim her identity had been arduous, but each battle fought had contributed to the resilient spirit that now defined her, a spirit that no longer trembled in the face of adversity. In stark contrast to their peaceful haven, Celeste's life in Florida remained a constant reminder of a path chosen and opportunities squandered. Cloaked in the glittering facade of high society and material success, she wandered through luxurious halls with a hollow heart, haunted by the choices that had left her isolated and unfulfilled. Her existence, marked by carefully constructed appearances and fleeting moments of superficial joy, was a somber counterpoint to the genuine love and authenticity that now flourished in Lucien and Valeria's world. Though surrounded by opulence, Celeste could not escape the inner void that had grown over years of sacrificing true self for the sake of power and status, a void that no amount of wealth or accolades could ever fill. In the quiet aftermath of their respective journeys, The divergent lives of these intertwined souls revealed an enduring truth. The path to redemption is carved by the courage to confront one's deepest wounds and the determination to rise above them. Lucian and Valeria's bond, nurtured in the crucible of hardship and forged by the transformative power of truth, stood as a testament to the beauty of vulnerability and the strength of love that emerges when one dares to be truly seen. As they walked hand in hand along the sunlit trail by the lake, every step was a celebration of liberation, a gentle defiance against the chains of a past mired in deception. In that radiant moment, the world around them became a canvas of possibility, where light and shadow wove a portrait of hope, renewal, and a promise of future free of lies. In the wake of years, marked by betrayal, heartache, and the arduous journey toward self-discovery, a final chapter emerged that wove together every painful lesson and every hopeful triumph into a tapestry of redemption and genuine love. Lucian and Valeria, having endured the shackles of forced identity and familial manipulation, now stood at the precipice of a new beginning, where every sunrise promised liberation from the past. On a crisp autumn morning, in their secluded Oregon retreat, they walked along a winding path bordered by towering pines and a shimmering lake that mirrored the sky's boundless expanse. Each step they took was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a silent, powerful declaration that the chains of deception and imposed roles had finally been broken. With every footfall on the cool earth, Valeria recalled the days when her voice was but a timid echo behind another's persona, while Lucian remembered the darkness that once confined his world, now replaced by a vision that transcended mere sight. Continuing their journey, the serene sounds of nature accompanied every whispered step, as the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant murmur of a flowing stream wove a melody that spoke of renewal and hope. The crisp air carried with it memories of a past filled with coerced smiles and hollow promises, yet also the promise of transformation that only truth could bestow. In that delicate balance between remembrance and aspiration, Valeria felt a stirring deep within, a resurgence of the self she had long been forced to hide. Lucian, whose heart had always sensed more than his eyes could perceive, found solace in the radiant spirit emerging from Valeria's newfound strength. Their shared silence was a language of its own, a communion that transcended words and echoed with the quiet resilience of souls determined to redefine their destinies. In the sanctuary of their transformed home, every room resonated with warmth and a palpable sense of belonging. Mornings were spent in the soft glow of dawn, where gentle conversations over freshly brewed tea and quiet moments of reflection nurtured the seeds of hope. The walls, once silent witnesses to a life of pretense, now echoed with laughter and the murmurs of shared dreams. Valeria meticulously tended to a small garden, coaxing delicate blooms from the soil as a metaphor for her own rebirth, while Lucian immersed himself in the creation of music that celebrated the newfound beauty of a world rediscovered. Together, they rebuilt their lives on the foundation of authenticity, each day a deliberate act of courage and a tribute to the transformative power of love. Yet, the echoes of past wounds still whispered in moments of solitude, reminding them that healing was a journey without a definitive end. There were days when the weight of old betrayals and the sting of harsh words threatened to overshadow their newfound joy. In those moments, Lucian's gentle touch and Valeria's resilient smile served as beacons of light, guiding them through the darkness of lingering memories. They would sit together in silence, letting the quiet murmur of the wind and the soft cadence of nature soothe their aching hearts. Each shared glance and tender reassurance reinforced their commitment to move forward, to honor the struggles of yesterday by embracing the promise of tomorrow. In this delicate balance of remembrance and hope, their love deepened into an unspoken vow to never again allow the past to dictate the rhythm of their future. At twilight, As the sky softened into hues of lavender and gold, Lucian and Valeria stood united in a silent vow that the future was theirs to shape. In that moment, every hardship and tear shed in darkness yielded to an unwavering hope that now glowed with newfound freedom. Their arduous journey had revealed that love is not fleeting, but a steadfast force capable of healing even the deepest wounds. With hearts full of gratitude and eyes fixed on tomorrow's promise, they embraced the endless possibilities ahead, ready to face any challenge. Together, they transformed sorrow into stepping stones toward a future defined by truth, passion, and enduring joy. Under the starry sky, their intertwined paths symbolized a love reborn and a future of promise. After enduring a long, harrowing journey through deceit, forced identities, and betrayals, Lucian and Valeria discovered that redemption lay not in erasing the past, but in embracing its scars as emblems of resilience. In the quiet aftermath of a life ruled by familial domination and manipulation, they emerged as living testaments to the transformative power of truth and love. In the soft, golden light of early mornings, at their secluded Oregon retreat, Valeria walked along the edge of a still lake, her thoughts swirling like gentle ripples against the shore. Each step she took honored the inner strength that had been buried beneath layers of imposed expectations and whispered lies. Every memory of cold command, every echo of Celeste's derision, served as a reminder that her pain had carved space for hope and renewal. Lucian, whose world had been shrouded in darkness until the miracle of restored sight, found that his vision extended far beyond the physical realm. As he gazed upon Valeria's serene countenance, his eyes perceived a luminous spirit within her, a spirit that had fought to reclaim its rightful place. Their shared glances became silent conversations, filled with unspoken promises of a future unburdened by old deceptions. Their home, once a cold stage for a charade of wealth and privilege, had transformed into a sanctuary where every corner resonated with authenticity and warmth. Mornings brought quiet rituals, a tender exchange over freshly brewed coffee, soft laughter echoing in sunlit rooms, and long walks under towering pines, where each rustle of leaves seemed to sing songs of liberation. Yet, even as the beauty of their renewed lives unfolded, remnants of past turmoil occasionally stirred like distant thunder. In moments of solitude, when the shadows of yesterday threatened to reclaim prominence, Valeria would pause and confront lingering echoes of betrayal. Those moments of vulnerability, rather than breaking her, fortified her resolve to live with unwavering honesty. Lucian, ever the steady presence, would wrap his hand around hers, offering silent reassurance that every scar testified to battles fought and won. In the gentle cadence of their daily lives, the pain of former deceptions gradually melted away, replaced by profound gratitude for the chance to rebuild and redefine themselves. As word of their transformation spread through the tight-knit community, neighbors began to speak of the couple with quiet admiration, remarking on the gentle radiance that enveloped their home. The story of Lucian and Valeria became a whispered legend, a reminder that even in the darkest circumstances, the human spirit possesses an extraordinary capacity for renewal. Their journey, marked by small yet significant victories, illustrated that forgiveness was not a single act, but an ongoing process, woven into the fabric of everyday existence. With each passing day, they learned that true redemption was found in the courage to acknowledge past missteps and transform them into stepping stones toward a brighter future. In the cool embrace of twilight, as the sky melted into hues of lavender and deep indigo, the couple often sat together on their weathered porch, their hands intertwined in a silent covenant of enduring love. They spoke little, for their hearts had already conveyed every word. The silence between them brimmed with understanding and a promise to never again allow the ghosts of the past to dictate their destiny. It was in that twilight hour that the culmination of their long journey revealed itself, a steadfast belief that love, in its purest form, transcends all obstacles and that every painful memory can be reimagined as a beacon of hope. In embracing their authentic selves, Lucian and Valeria not only reclaimed their identities, but forged a union that defied the oppressive forces of a world built on false pretenses. Their lives, once marred by relentless cruelty, now shone as a testament to the enduring power of truth and the magic of genuine connection. Standing together beneath a sky strewn with stars, they knew that every tear shed and harsh word endured had led them to this sacred moment of clarity and love. In that final, quiet realization, their hearts beat in unison with the promise of tomorrow, each moment a cherished step toward a future defined by honest joy and enduring connection eternally. After all the battles fought in the shadows of deceit and the many tears shed in silence, Lucian and Valeria reached a moment of serene clarity that encapsulated the entirety of their tumultuous journey. In the fading glow of an autumn evening, as amber light spilled across the quiet expanse of their Oregon retreat, they sat side by side on a weathered wooden bench overlooking a lake that shimmered with reflections of both past sorrows and newfound hope. The air, crisp and laced with the scent of pine and distant rain, carried with it the whispers of old wounds slowly healing, and in that gentle breeze, every word spoken between them felt like an affirmation of their hard-won freedom. They remembered a time when every step had been marred by the heavy burden of false identities and familial expectations, when Valeria's trembling voice was silenced by the cold demands of a mother and the mocking laughter of Celeste, whose ambition had once overshadowed every genuine emotion. Now, in this quiet sanctuary, the ghost of that painful past had transformed into a tapestry of lessons learned, each thread woven with the care of hearts that had dared to defy the imposed roles of their former lives. Lucian's restored sight had not only unveiled the vibrant colors of the world around him, but had also opened his eyes to the resilient spirit that shone within Valeria, a spirit that had endured countless trials to finally claim its rightful place in the light. Together, they embraced the truth that love was not a mere performance dictated by social expectations, but a living, breathing force that grew stronger in the fertile soil of authenticity and mutual respect. As they reflected on the arduous road that had led them to this moment of clarity, their thoughts wandered to the days when every unspoken doubt and every concealed fear threatened to dismantle the fragile bond they were only beginning to understand. Yet, through each trial, they had discovered that vulnerability was not a weakness, but the most potent form of courage, enabling them to rebuild their lives from the ruins of old lies and betrayals. In the soft murmur of the evening, as the sky deepened into shades of indigo and the first stars timidly emerged, their intertwined hands symbolized a promise to honor the past without allowing it to dictate the future. They had learned that the scars of yesterday were not marks of defeat, but emblems of survival, each one a silent testimony to the power of forgiveness and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Even as memories of Celeste's manipulative schemes and the relentless pressure of a family driven by greed and ambition occasionally flickered in the recesses of their minds, they now viewed those dark chapters as a necessary prelude to the luminous transformation they had achieved. The stark contrast between the hollow victories of a life built on deception and the profound satisfaction of living in truth had never been more apparent, fueling their determination to nurture the fragile bloom of genuine love each day. With each new day, as sunlight broke through the lingering mists of dawn and painted the world in hues of endless possibility, Lucian and Valeria embraced the unspoken promise that every moment was an opportunity to begin anew. Their home, once a silent gallery of enforced perfection, had been reborn into a haven of shared dreams and quiet resilience, where the beauty of imperfection was celebrated and every heartbeat resonated with the power of redemption. In that final transformative chapter of their journey, they found solace not in the absence of pain, but in the courageous act of facing it head-on, aware that every tear and hardship had led them to this moment of profound clarity and tender connection. They sat beneath a sky, strewn with countless stars, and the world paused, allowing their hearts to speak in a language of hope, gratitude, and love that guided them toward a new future. In that gentle convergence of past and present, Lucian and Valeria realized every sacrifice paved the way to redemption, and as they embraced tomorrow, their souls shone with the promise of endless possibility. After enduring years of torment and subterfuge, Lucian and Valeria reached a pivotal moment in their tumultuous journey, a moment when the shadows of deceit finally gave way to the gentle light of redemption and hope. Standing together on a crisp spring morning at their beloved Oregon retreat, they surveyed the landscape that had witnessed both their suffering and their ultimate rebirth. The sprawling meadow before them, dotted with wildflowers and framed by ancient trees, served as a living testament to the resilience of nature and the human spirit alike. In that serene setting, every whisper of the wind and every rustle of the leaves carried echoes of their past, memories of a time when forced identities and familial betrayal had nearly extinguished the spark of who they truly were. Yet, with each step they took along the winding garden path, their intertwined hands spoke of a promise made long ago to never let the pain of yesterday dictate the beauty of tomorrow. Valeria's eyes, once filled with quiet despair and the weight of unspoken lies, now shimmered with a newfound clarity, reflecting the inner strength that had been forged in the crucible of hardship. Lucian, whose world had once been cloaked in darkness, now viewed life with a vision that transcended mere physical sight. He saw the luminous essence of Valeria's soul, the tender vulnerability that had blossomed despite the harshness of her past. Together, they embraced the knowledge that every scar, every tear shed in solitude, was a reminder of battles fought and lessons learned. In the gentle cadence of nature's song, they found solace and understanding, a silent agreement that forgiveness was not a sign of weakness, but rather a courageous act of self-liberation. As the sun ascended higher, casting golden hues upon the landscape, memories of a time filled with manipulation and coercion began to dissolve like mist under the warmth of dawn. The relentless pressure of a domineering family, the calculated ambitions of a cunning sister, and the suffocating grip of societal expectations had all once conspired to strip away their true identities. But now, as they walked together beneath the vast expanse of a clear blue sky, Lucian and Valeria celebrated not only the triumph over those dark forces, but also the beauty of embracing life's imperfections. Their love, forged in the fires of adversity and tempered by the cool winds of change, had transformed into a bond that was as unyielding as it was tender. Each shared smile, every soft word whispered in the quiet moments before twilight, reinforced their commitment to a future built on honesty, compassion, and mutual respect. In the glow of that radiant day, they paused by a gently flowing stream, its waters shimmering with reflections of the past and present intertwined. There, amidst the murmuring currents, they spoke words of gratitude for the hardships that had led them to this moment, recognizing that the pain they once endured had become the catalyst for an extraordinary transformation. They vowed to honor their journey by nurturing the love that had emerged from the depths of despair and by cherishing every small victory that marked their path toward healing. The air around them vibrated with the promise of new beginnings, and the vibrant chorus of nature seemed to applaud their courage in reclaiming their destinies. With hearts unburdened and eyes wide open to the endless possibilities that lay ahead, they stepped forward into the future, leaving behind the echoes of a past defined by deceit and embracing a life illuminated by truth and unconditional love. In that moment of sublime clarity, as the final rays of the setting sun painted the sky in hues of lavender and gold, Lucian and Valeria knew that they had transcended the pain of their former lives. Their souls, once weighed down by sorrow and regret, now soared freely on the wings of hope and redemption. And so, as night fell over the tranquil landscape, they stood in silent affirmation that every struggle and sacrifice was a necessary passage to a wondrous rebirth, a testament to love's power to heal and transform. Their hearts beat as promise of tomorrow, each moment a step toward future of honest joy. After years of turbulent self-discovery and the painful unraveling of a life built on deceit, Lucian and Valeria found themselves at the threshold of a new chapter, one where every scar told a story and every tear paved the way to a future bathed in truth. In the quiet solitude of their reclaimed home, nestled among towering pines and a gentle lake that mirrored the sky, the couple sat on a weathered wooden bench, their hands intertwined in a silent promise that no past betrayal or forced masquerade could diminish the beauty of their genuine bond. The murmur of the wind through the leaves, the call of a morning dove, and the rhythmic lapping of water against the shore created a symphony of renewal, a melody that resonated within their hearts and whispered that forgiveness and love were the true architects of change. Lucian's journey, from a world defined by darkness to one illuminated by newly discovered sight, had been as much an inward odyssey as a physical miracle. Every time his eyes adjusted to the vibrant colors of a sunset or the blush of a rose, he was reminded that the world once shrouded in shadows held wonders beyond measure. Yet, it was not merely the visual splendor that stirred his soul, but the vision of Valeria, no longer the timid, silenced woman trapped by oppressive expectations, but a resilient spirit reborn in the crucible of hardship. Her laughter, once muffled by duty and deceit, now rang clear and true, echoing in the quiet corridors of their home and in the depths of his heart. Each morning, as dawn broke with determination, Valeria wandered through the dew-kissed garden, her bare feet feeling the cool earth while Lucian, still relearning the language of light, marveled at the tapestry of nature unfolding before him. Their days were filled with simple rituals that affirmed their commitment to honesty. Sharing a cup of tea over heartfelt conversation, tending a small garden where every blossom symbolized hope, and spending long afternoons lost in quiet contemplation beneath a cerulean sky. Yet, amid the serenity of their new life, memories of the past would occasionally surface like fleeting shadows. The echoes of harsh commands, the sting of betrayal, and the cold judgment of a family that once dictated their every move reminded them of a time when their true selves were imprisoned by societal expectations and deceit. But rather than allowing these ghosts to haunt them, Lucian and Valeria chose to honor those experiences as essential chapters in their transformation. They recognized that every misstep, every forced smile, and every suppressed cry had forged the strength that now allowed them to stand proudly in the light of their authenticity. In moments of introspection, when the world seemed to pause in reverence for life rediscovered, they reflected on the irony that living a lie led them to uncover the truth of who they were meant to be. It was in the balance between pain and joy, despair and hope, that their love deepened into something transcendent. The memories of Celeste's schemes and the oppressive weight of their family's ambitions faded into the background, replaced by a future built on mutual respect, understanding, and an unwavering commitment to truth. As twilight embraced the day, the couple rose to face the promise of tomorrow with hearts unburdened by regret and eyes open to endless possibilities. Their journey, marked by the resilience of the human spirit and the transformative power of love, taught them that redemption was not a destination but a continuous process of growth and healing. In the soft glow of fading light, as the first stars shimmered in the night sky, Lucian and Valeria vowed to cherish every moment of genuine connection and nurture the fragile bloom of hope that had emerged from the ashes of their former lives. In that shared silence, where every unspoken word resonated like a sacred hymn, they understood that their story, one of pain, perseverance, and ultimate rebirth, would forever serve as a beacon for those daring enough to seek truth within themselves and embrace the light after darkness. In that final, radiant moment, they embraced life fully, deeply grateful for every painful lesson and joyous triumph. Thank you for joining us on the journey of Lucian and Valeria, a tale of hardship, transformation, and the redemptive power of embracing one's true self. Their story teaches us that even when life forces us into roles we never chose and deception clouds our path, our inner strength and authenticity can shine through. Every tear, every scar, and every moment of vulnerability is a stepping stone towards self-discovery and genuine love. Instead of allowing pain and forced identity to define us, we have the power to transform our suffering into wisdom and resilience. In the face of overwhelming pressure and the burden of others' expectations, Lucian and Valeria chose to confront their fears and reclaim their individuality. They discovered that true love is not found in pretense or superficial appearances, but in honest connection, compassion, and the courage to be vulnerable. Their journey reminds us that every hardship carries a lesson and that our imperfections are the very things that make us beautifully human. By choosing honesty over conformity, we open the door to healing, personal growth, and a future filled with authentic joy. As you reflect on this story, consider your own path and the challenges you have overcome. Remember that your struggles can become the foundation for a more meaningful and courageous life. We invite you to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Where are you from? And how have your own challenges shaped your journey toward authenticity? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories and valuable insights that celebrate the power of truth and the beauty of being yourself. Let this narrative remind you that every challenge you face is an opportunity for growth, and every moment of honesty lights the way to a brighter, more authentic future indeed.